Good afternoon. It's Audrey with the Creator's Attic. I'm coming to you again today to show you something else that I do with index cards. We've been doing some videos on index cards and playing cards, and now I'm just going to be using an index card today. And today I'd like to show you, if you don't already know how I make my slides. These are actually specimen slides. There is a plastic window on either side. That's the back. And this is the front. I have used a 3x5 index card, a 1-inch punch. This is a square punch. I have a round punch. You can use the round punch as well, either one. But I found that the 1 square inch punch works great. And I've just put a little transfer here on, but you can write on here. You can leave it without anything at all. You don't even have to have a coffee dyed index card. You can use a plain index card, or also what looks nice is a piece of cardstock cut 3x5, and I find 3x5 to be the perfect size for this side slide, because I will show you why in a moment. But basically all I've done is cut some acetate. Let me back you up a little bit. This is 9x12 acetate paper. I believe I got it on Amazon. But let me see if I can back you up a little bit more. There you go. And it basically just comes like this. It's not very expensive for the amount that you get. There were 25 sheets in here, and I believe it was less than $10. And also you only need a small amount. I cut my little squares, if you can see these, or squares, rectangles, no more than 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Even 2 by 2 inches will also work. And you will need you will need some dried flowers. But if you do not have dried flowers, you can also use flower stickers, or you can use pictures of flowers. There are more things than just flowers that you can use, but I'm finding that this is the perfect time of year. I love this time of year. Of course, I am in the South, but our flowers are blooming now. But this is actually a flower that from last year. The sun is really shining through my window, so I hope that you can see this pretty clearly. But these are flowers I pressed from last year. This is a hydrangea from last year I pressed. And you could just put them in wax paper and put them in the pages of a heavy book, leave them there until they dry. Or you can also use a microfleur machine. I have one of those that I like to use, but last year I did not have one. And the book method works well also. So I'm going to remove this, and I have my green mat with all of the love and crafting that's been done on it. And let's get started. I'll show you how I make these. This is very, very simple. I coffee dyed a 3x5 index card. Like I said, you can also use a 3x5 white index card. You can ink it to have the appearance of a more coffee dyed like that, if you want that more vintage look. Or you can use a some heavy cardstock and cut that out by 3x5. But 3x5 is the perfect size for a 1-inch square punch. So I'm going to show you how I do this. It's very simple. First of all, I'm going to take my card and turn it with the long ways facing me, and I'm going to match up my corners. And matching up, I love using the a pre-cut card, and the index card lends itself to this very well, and it just saves a lot of time. And the thickness of an index card, I believe these may have come from Walmart or something, or the dollar store, but they work perfectly. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to mash this down. And I want to make sure that my corners are even. So I see that this one is not quite even. And it's pretty important to match your corners up and get this even. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit more even, and you'll see why this is an important step in just a moment. I was talking and not paying attention to what I was doing. So, who does that? No, not me. Okay. Oh, goodness. I'm really struggling with this. Okay. I'm going to try to match these and use my bone folder and straighten this out. And if it is a little uneven, that's okay. I can come in with the scissors. That works. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is with the folded side. Okay, this is the longer part here. And the folded side, I'm going to put this into my punch. And this is how I cheat. I do not have to measure as much here. If I put it all the way to the back, and make sure that it is all the way to the back, so my window is not crooked, and I put it about halfway how I want it in here. Okay, and I punch. I will come out with this. And yes, I do have a little bit more room over on this side, but the great thing is when I cut this folded edge off towards the very end, I have the perfect size. So this is what we're going to do next. I open it up. So this is the inside. And I take my Fabrifix glue. I have my Fabrifix in a Sweet Sugar Bell icing piping bottle because I love the little tip that comes with it for a little bit more precision. But this is, if you do not know what Fabrifix is, it looks like this. It's made by Beacon. You can find it at Walmart or other craft stores. It may be called Fabri-Tac in some places, but it's made by Beacon. It is like a clear silicone glue. It will do glue fabric to fabric and fabric to paper and paper to paper. And I find this very good because of it holds the acetate. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, let me see if I can zoom you in a little bit. I am going to glue not right up next to my window, but I'm going to glue just a little bit away in a square around my window, okay? Then I'm going to take my piece of acetate, and I'm trying not to touch it so I don't get finger marks, smears. Try not to drop it in the glue. And I'm going to place it, and it's just a little bit bigger, but if I place it down one time, this glue will kind of squeeze in a little bit and get closer to the window. And I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to just put a thin stream down here like this. Go all the way around, because you want your windows securely glued in on all sides. Take another piece of my acetate, and I seem to have picked up a piece of debris there. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to put it here, trying not to touch all in my view part. And now I have this. So we have our little slide already good and on its way. So the next thing I'm going to do is make sure that my flower I'm going to take a hydrangea, I think, this time, and I'm going to get this side that I want to face out. Okay, so I have, this is the side I want to be in the front. This is the side that I want to be in the back. I'm going to take the back of this, and this is where you have to make sure that you are very careful. You just put a dot, an ever so slight dot of glue on the back of the flower, okay? Because this is going to hold it in place to where it's not going all over of the place. Okay, let me slide this. Okay, so let me back you up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to lay this down where I want it, because once I lay it down, I am not going to want to slide it around with that glue. It could tear my flower up, and it could also leave a big smear on my window. So pretty much where I lay it down is kind of where it stays. We need it to stay. Okay, I'm going to check my window. Okay, I like it. It's all in there perfectly. So now I am going to take my Fabrifix again, and I am not going to glue all the way to the edges because it will ooze out again, but I'm going to do it close to the edges this time. Just go around in a square. I'm not going to get too close to that seam because I'm going to cut it, and I don't want glue getting all on my guillotine or my scissors or whatever you may be using to cut yours with. I'm just going to get close to it, go around, and this glue will hold this light acetate. If you do not have access to acetate, you can use junk mail windows. You can cut the windows out of the junk mail you get and use that, or plastic off of packaging. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to close this. And see how it's so important that I went ahead and had my my corners matching, because then I don't have a lot of fussing to do with my slide once I get it done. And I'm just going to do this around. I'm not going to be squishing on my flower. Let's see if you get this. All right, I'm going to go to my guillotine for a precision cut because I'm a little shaky. I think I've had too much caffeine today. Hold on just a moment. I'm just going to simply just cut this little end off. I'll be right back. And here we have it. We have a slide simply done like that in just a matter of a few moments. We have a beautiful slide that we can put in a journal. We could glue it on a journal page. You can make several little small pockets and tuck them in. I've actually done it with lace. Some crocheted lace trim. I've done a little bit of across several parts of the page and then tucked slides in them. That looks very nice. You can tuck these, you can slide these into a corner tuck or into a side tuck. You could also clip these on a page. You can cut these a little bit more down to this size you want. You can ink around the sides. You can glue a book page number on here, or you can leave it like it is, or however you want to decorate it. Now you have the basic idea, and it is just that simple. So let's try it. I'm going to try another one with you, and this time we're going to pretend like you did not coffee dye your cards. And like I said again, if you want me to show you a very easy and non-messy way to quickly make coffee dyed index cards, you can leave that in the comments, and if enough people need it or want me to show it, I will. Let me find the top to my Fabrifix so I can store it upside down. Okay. All right. Because that way it comes out easier if I can plug it up and then store it up with the glue towards the tip. I don't have to wait so long. Okay, so here is what I'm going to show you. Simply, I believe I may have showed you this in another video, but I can show it quickly again. I'm going to take my Distress ink. I think I'm just going to go with Vintage Photo. And I'm going to take a paddle brush. You can use the sponge if you want, or you can use the sponge if you want, or you can use the ink dauber to do this, but I find a big sponge like this, I just quickly rub it around in the ink a little bit, and I dust it on, and you can see the color of the card already starting to change. And since this Distress ink is water-based and it washes off, not the oxide, but the Distress ink, it just washes right on off of my mat, so I'm just doing it directly on my mat. And I have, when I go down initially with my brush, I'm trying not to put a lot of pressure on it. That'll keep you from having that brush mark. But if you do get that brush mark, that it'll be a little bit darker in one place where you go down with the brush. If you continue to put ink on it, it really doesn't get noticeable. But I'm going to show you how quickly we've transformed this very bright white index card. Now this one doesn't have lines on the back, but if you do have them with lines on the back, that's fine, because you can fold them to where the line part will be on the inside. And of course my inside is not going to show on this one, so I'm only going to do one side. Look at the difference. Now I'm going to show you this with my slide. It's almost as dark as the coffee dyed. We can do some other inking. We could add more ink to it. We can use darker ink. You can use different color inks if you want, but I'm just going to simply do this. I'm going to show you one more time how I do this. We're going to fold it together with the corners matching, and if I fold it like this and my corners matching, and I actually pay attention instead of running my mouth and half paying attention, you can kind of pinch it on, hold it in the center, pinch it, and if you try to hold it in place where you have your corners, while you have your corners meeting like you want, and then you hold it down, and then you use your bone folder, or I'm going to show this. I'm going to use the back of my scissors. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use the flat part of your scissors here, and you can also use that like a bone folder. So if you don't have a bone folder, this is another way to do this. You could also use the edge of a popsicle stick. You could use the edge of your ruler for this, at least. You can just use different things, but we're going to take our card and we're going to turn it to where we have the longest part now, to our east and west. And so I'm going to take my square punch again. Actually, let me grab my round punch. Let's see if I can grab it real quick, because you can do this with the round punch. You could do it with a hard punch too. It's really cute, but just using a 1 inch on this size card is a pretty good rule of thumb, or a 1 1/4 inch. Let me see. I have different ones. I have one, and I'm looking. You can use the scalloped one as well. This one is 1 3/4. I'm trying to see what I have quickly. So this was a 1 inch. I believe this was a 1 inch square punch. And I have like so many different drawers of punches that I'm going through them and looking. This is actually a 1.5 inch round punch. I may try that. Watch me do it, and then, well, here's my 1 inch. But that just doesn't seem like it would be as big. I know that my my square one works, so I'm just gonna stick with that one. But you can play around with your round one if you want round ones. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to deviate from what I'm doing. I was going to, but I changed my mind. Chicken. Okay, here I go. It's centered, gone down. That way I have a window that's punched evenly. And like I said, you know, this part that the hinges right here will be a little bit wider than this part, but that's okay because we will need that little part cut off. But it just lends itself to a nice little fold while you do have it. I just keeps it together from moving all over you, so you don't have two different windows you're trying to slide on together. The less you can touch this, especially with the once you get the acetate and the flour on, the better. So I'm going to go around again with my Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac, whatever you need to use. I'm going to take my acetate. I'm going to, this one may be a little bit larger. I want it to be able to have, don't want my acetate to run right up to my edges, to the edges of my slide, like on this outer part, because then it will be, it just won't look as good when you try to close it. And like I say, see if you can see where the Fabrifix has oozed a little bit closer to the window. And I haven't even cut this then that way it will go ahead and but it won't be coming out of my window, oozing all out onto the plastic part. And I have actually not even worried that much about how straight I cut my acetate. It's just a general difference, and now I have a slight difference, and now I have a big blob. Okay. My Fabrifix has not been wanting to cooperate with me. When I put it in this bottle, sometimes if I have it in here for a longer period of time and I don't use it up very quickly, and it will get a little goopy on me. So I have to make sure that I use it frequently when I have it in here, and that I continue to add fresh glue to it, or either use all that I have up in there and then add more. Okay, so here I have this again. I'm just going to go around, try not to touch the part that'll be seen, and I will do it like this. And this one has a little bit of a thing, but you know what? It makes it look even more vintagey. Just go over it a little bit with some more that I have left over on the thing, and I'm going to be cutting this end off anyway, so we will revisit that and see how that looks. That little crease, that's no problem. Adds character. Let's see. Well, I used a hydrangea for the last one, and this was, the original one was from a crown of thorns. So I think I am going to use, is this too big? No, yeah, just a little bit. That was a rose I had, smaller rose. Let's see what I have. I have another crown of thorns. Okay, this one might be a little bit long, so I'm going to take this stem off. And I like to add, leave a little stem on here if I can. It kind of adds character. Okay, so I am going to put just a small dot of Fabrifix here on the end, or just on one little part of my tip, and decide where I want to lay it so I don't have to be sliding it around and making a mess on this plastic. Now I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to go around again like we did before, trying not to get too close to that crease where we're going to be cutting. That way you can avoid getting the glue oozing. It will close the all around the edges, but it won't be oozing out onto your guillotine or your scissors and making them all goopy. Let's see, maybe I want to get a little bit closer here. I really like this this tip on the glue here on this icing piping bottle. Be cooperative, glue. Sorry, I had to stop and have a word with my glue there for a minute. Stop distracting me. If you keep distracting me, I'm not going to use you anymore. It knows I'm kidding because I love this glue. Okay, anyway, I'm going to close this over. Go back down. And the importance, once again, of having these edges matched up is really handy at this point of the game, because I don't have to worry about sliding stuff all over. It just goes right on top of each other, and it's perfectly matched. So I'm going to go in here, and I have this. Now I'm going to cut the end off. I'll be right back. And here I have my slide, and this is the one that I did with the coffee dye. I mean, not coffee dye, the non-coffee dye. So here's the one with the coffee dye. Here's the non-coffee dye. I think I might want to emphasize the corners around this one since I didn't coffee dye it. So I'm going to grab my distress ink again. You could also do this with a shade this with other colors of distress ink if you wanted to add a little bit more depth, but I really just want to keep the basics of this beautiful flower, just the color focused on it, because it's just this rich color, so pretty. Let me see. Okay, less inking, less talking. More inking, less talking. Okay. And here are my edges measures, just like this. Yeah, there we go. And you can also, I could have inked the window before I put the acetate in, and that would also have emphasized, framed the flower a little bit more. I could have done that with any of them, but it's a little late now, but that's just fine because it's just so nice as is. Let's see. Okay, so I've done this one, showing you that you do not have to have a coffee dyed index card. So I have this one, and I have this one, and there's not much of a difference. And if I wanted to darken it and it really be a big, get it closer to this one, I could. So you can take a little word. Let me grab a word from the corner of a book. I'll be right back. Okay, here I have a lovely piece of old book page, and I think I may just want to see if I can, this just practically crumbles, it's so old. See if I can kind of tear it out to add a little bit to the vintagey kind of raw appeal to it. This is, you can kind of sometimes with these get, you can also include a little word if you don't want to. This just kind of looks like a slide specimen number, you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of adds a little bit of character to it. Let's see if I can get this off without breaking it. You're so brittle. Okay, I think I may want to ink around the edges just a tish for emphasis. I almost lost my whole, all my book page there. These are just, this book is like over 100 years old. It is just very old, but I really want this to stand out a little bit from the rest of the page. Maybe I should have done it in a little bit darker ink. But I could take it, take a little bit of glue. If I can get my glues being stubborn again over here. Okay, take it, decide where I want to put my glue, my book page. Number. I got a little bit of the glue here. I've got glue all over my fingers. Here, just put that there. And I have a number on my slide from a book page. So as you can see, this is very easy to do, and it only takes a few moments if you have everything all together. It's so fun, it's so pretty, and there's such nice natural additions to your junk journals. Have a great day, and I will be seeing you soon. Please visit my Etsy store. It's also the Creator's Attic. You can just search the Creator's Attic on Etsy, or there's a link below. Also, check more videos out. If you like this, please like, subscribe, and share my videos. Check out my store. Also, if you would like other things junk journal related, I have lots of things over there that you can play with. Thanks so much, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.